Good evening. Great Commission Bible College. We're studying end time events. We're on lesson number 1. Lesson number 1 is Israel's fall and end time events. 70 years of captivity. Jeremiah 25:1. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah. Jeremiah 25:8 through 11. Therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, because you have not heard my words, behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, saith the Lord, and Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon, my servant, and will bring them against this land, Israel and Judah, and against the inhabitants thereof, and against all those nations, Israel and Judah, round about, and will utterly destroy them, and make them an astonishment, and a hissing, and a perpetual desolation. Verse 10. Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, the voice of the bride, and the sound of the millstone, and the light of the candle. Verse 11. And the whole land shall be desolate, and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. Jeremiah declared that the whole land should be desolation and an astonishment, and these nations, the children of Israel, shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, conquered Jerusalem in 606 BC and returned home with a group of royal captives, including the young man named Daniel. Jeremiah continued to live in Jerusalem and prophesied under the rule of the Babylonian Empire. Young Daniel was eventually elevated from the position of a captive slave to becoming the first minister of Babylon, the greatest empire in ancient history. After living approximately 70 years in Babylon, Daniel read Jeremiah's predictions, and he knew the 70 years of Babylonian captivity would end within a few years. He began to pray and to seek God to reveal to him the future of the Jewish people. While he was interceding on behalf of the people and Jerusalem, God answered by sending his angel, Gabriel, to give him skill and understanding about the future course of history. A biblical year contains 360 days. Daniel's vision. Daniel chapter 9, verse 24 through 27. 70 weeks, or 490 years, are determined upon my people and upon the holy city, to finish the transgression, to make an end of sin, to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision of prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. The final 7 years of the 70th week of Daniel will be God's special dealing with the nation of Israel during the 7-year tribulation period, and it's just after the church age ends and the rapture of the church takes place, and just prior to the return of Christ with the saints to fight the battle of Armageddon. 7 years equals one of Daniel's weeks. Verse 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to rebuild Jerusalem into the Messiah's prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. These are weeks of years. The streets shall be built again, and the walls even in troublous times. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah, Jesus, be cut off, but not for himself, from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks, was fulfilled to the exact day, 483 biblical years after it commenced. A commencement period of the vision is the commandment to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, which begun in Daniel 9 and 25. This decree was issued by the Persian king Arishel, can't say it long. At any rate, in the month of Nisan, or March 14, 445 BC. Ezekiel prophecy fulfilled exactly. On the 10th day of Nisan, April 6, AD 32, on Palm Sunday, Jesus entered Jerusalem and presented himself as the Messiah in the fulfillment of prophecy. On that significant day, Messiah rode into Jerusalem on the back of a colt. His disciples recognized him as the Messiah and proclaimed, "Blessed be the King that cometh in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory to the highest." Luke 19 and 38. However, the Pharisees and most of the people refused to acknowledge him as their Messiah. They called out to Jesus, "Master, rebuke thy disciples." But Jesus replied to the Pharisees that if these should hold their peace, the stones would immediately cry out. Luke then described the scene as Jesus approached Jerusalem. That concludes our lesson number 1, and we know that the crucifixion of Christ took place very quickly.